This is gritty, gritty, gritty. This is real. This is our space. Confessions of a creative. Confessions of a creative. Confessions of a creative. Welcome back to Confessions of a Creative. My name is Dee, and this is where we discuss the unique journey of creative entrepreneurs. So if this content resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe. Today, we welcome Kerri Birch, a director at the production company 13 Degrees North. She's actively involved in scripting and production of both client and original videos. Kerri has 16 years of experience in the fields of television and film production, events management, and advertising. So, we want to welcome her because she is most definitely a creative entrepreneur. Sit back, kick back, and enjoy the interview. Okay, so we are here, as we said, with Kerri, and we are continuing the topic fake it till you make it because it is so interesting, and I really want to get what you think about it. Kerri, what is your personal and professional opinion of this notion of faking it till you make it?
So I am one of those people who I don't really believe in the notion of faking it till you make it. I do believe in the notion of giving yourself like what we call like inspirational or motivational mantras that,
Okay.
like if we have a vision of where we want to see ourselves in the future, um, or the things we want to be doing, I have a belief um, that you could inspire yourself by telling yourself certain things
Mhm.
um, that would be in line with that vision. However, I feel that at some point, especially if you don't put the work behind it, that at some point, just saying these things to yourself or just having that vision is not enough. And essentially, within yourself, because it's really the work that takes you from point A to point B. And I
Right.
feel that if you're just saying, oh, I am this or I will be this, and you're not doing the work, that you know within yourself where you still stand and you know you're not making any movement. So then that all just becomes a farce, essentially. So me personally, I'm the sort of person that if somebody says, "Oh, Kerri, can you do?" and this happened a lot of times.
Mhm.
Oh, Kerri, have the first time I wrote a proposal in my whole life. Oh, Kerri, have you ever written a proposal, a grant proposal? Um, I could have said yes,
Right. Right.
and then go and try to find out everything and that sort of thing. However, what I prefer to do is, kind of go the straight road. And I'm like, well, no, I never did, but I could
Mhm.
go and find out. And then what that also did was that allowed the person to know my skill set off the bat. And
Right.
that also allowed them to be able to find me help from their end so that I could get that job done. So now when somebody asks, hey, can you write a grant proposal? Yes, I can.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's really my feeling about it. There are just some things that you can't, especially with jobs and stuff. There are just some things that you really can't fake. You could send in the CV. You can say the prettiest things about what you can do.
Yes.
Um, but when you're actually put in that situation, you're going to be, you're going to be found out. So I rather take the route of having the vision, saying your
Right.
mantras, but you work behind it at the same time, essentially.
I Your point of view is so interesting, and I just knew that this topic would be such a good topic to um, talk with other people about. Um, okay, so I kind of want to unpack some of what you said because it's a little loaded, but it's so good. So the effect that faking it till you make it with an unrealistic, with unrealistic expectations, I should say, on yourself, because you're not being objective. Essentially, if somebody is just talking about what they can do, they don't really have the skill set, and as you said, they know this within themselves. the effect that it will, the negative effect that it will have on the person eventually, whether they want to admit it or not, because what they're doing is they're pushing the realism of their skill set to the background so that they can just put up this farce, so to speak, to get whatever they want. But as you said, eventually you're going to be found out. So the negative effect that this can have on you can really push you back in your creative entrepreneurial career.
Yeah.
Quite a bit, can't it?
Yeah.
And then, but then also, where it comes to the client, what I love about what you said was you were very upfront, which I also like because it shows me that you are very aware of how best you operate and you're working within that. So you operate well with being open and honest,
Yeah.
and to some degree vulnerable, which I really admire. And you told the person, well, listen, I don't, but I can. So you said that showed the person your skill set and also enabled them to help you. But you know, it also showed them that you um, are one, honest, but willing to put in the work, which is what everyone wants to see. Somebody that's willing to put in the work.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I,
yeah.
no, what were you going to say just now?
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna totally agree with you because that's something that's very important, that people know that you as a person are willing to put in the work, and especially for them. Because it's easy, one is easy to say yes and actually don't know how to do it and don't put in the work. And it's also easy just to say no and walk away. So.
Yes. It's so true. It's so, so true. So, like, a part of the whole, well, my personal view, which I shared in the video before, about that kind of falls into what I was talking about, where it came to evaluating and then saying, okay, can I can I reasonably work in order to get myself to the place where I need to be, where I can competently carry out this task or this job, this opportunity, whatever it may be. Now, the person who is not willing to be objective, who's not willing to put in the work, where are they really going to stand where it comes to their craft and monetizing that? Because some people think that they can just get by talking. They have what they call the gift of gab. So they think that they're always going to get by on this. Realistically, we've seen people crash and burn multiple times because of this.
So funny thing, right? And and funny enough, before we had started the recording, we were talking about pivoting and stuff like that. And here's the funny thing: I feel like people who have the gift of gab, but not
Yes.
necessarily the particular skill set, I feel like their gift is the gift of gab. And maybe maybe instead of again trying to fake it till you make it and make people believe that you can do something you can't do and that sort of thing, maybe you use that special gift of yours to kind of promote and uplift other people, because that is needed. And there are a lot of people in the creative industry who are not able to promote themselves because they don't have that gift, or who are that's not top of their mind because their craft is top of their mind.
Right.
But imagine having somebody out there like being your mouthpiece, going, "This is great, and you should look here," and always pointing in that direction.
Right.
But I do feel that. I mean, I really do feel that there are some people who live by that notion, who really believe, really within themselves, that they could get this thing done. But I feel it is, and going back to what you had said, is knowing, like, even if that is how you started out, saying
Right.
yes, I can do this, without saying, oh, I've never done it before, but you go, yes, I could do this thing, because you're kind of trying to like uplift yourself as well and give yourself that courage to grab this thing by the horn. But if you realize in that journey, you know, as you are trying to put in the work to do this thing, that it is not working out, you really should have a certain level of self-awareness, just like you said, to sit yourself down and say, this particular thing isn't working out for me. And I might be harming not only my client who expects a particular level of work from me, but I'm also harming myself and my reputation. And really and truly, in all spheres of business, creative or not, reputation is king, right? Like you mess up once and that could end your career,
So
essentially. So I
the same
feel
way
like
word of mouth works.
yeah.
Sorry.
So I feel you should have the self-awareness to say, okay, this isn't working, and to go back to the client and let them know that, and let them know that you've really tried your best to make this thing, to make this thing work, but it's just not
Right.
working out essentially. And you never know, somewhere in there, there might have been something that you found out that you are actually really good at in that whole process that could still be of some benefit to the client and to yourself and other people. So yeah.
No, that is all so true. When you're talking about reputation is king, that is like we've seen it time and time again. Somebody may have a beautiful product, and they talk about what they can deliver. However, they're not able to produce it in the time frame in which they say they can. And for that, they get a bad reputation. And that is so sad because the client is upset. They've talked to their friends. It just snowballs. And now you have a bad reputation. You might be so, so talented and can
Mm-hmm.
create something of good, of real quality. But because you, you know, fluffed up your capabilities where it comes to deadlines, then you get a bad reputation. So,
Yeah.
as okay, you know what question I want to ask you? In your experience with working with creatives, because obviously that's what you do all the time, do you find creatives generally have a problem with being realistic where it comes to deadlines, where it comes to just their work, because this is a very niche audience, or we're talking to or about, because
Mm-hmm.
a creative entrepreneur. Do you think that sometimes we are a little we as creative could be a little unrealistic?
um, I'm gonna say yes. I am going to say yes because essentially, what is a creative but a dreamer, right? And
So true.
so we tend to think of things really big, and we get to the big picture or that huge vision really quickly. Um, so the in between things is usually where everything kind of gets a little cloudy. Um, and I guess too that is why, and again, as we speak and we're thinking about people who would, hop in on the whole fake it till you make it, way of living. uh, I guess that is, I guess because we jump so quickly to the big picture, and to see ourselves there, I guess that's maybe one of the reasons why a lot of time is, yeah, yes, like I could be there and I could do that, and that sort of thing. Um, but I really feel that there is the need, and especially if we're talking about creative entrepreneurs, and not just a creative person, because the entrepreneur part obviously reflects that there's some business there, right?
Yes.
And if there's some business there, then there needs to be the smaller steps in between. And we need to be able to pull ourselves sometimes from the clouds, and kind of ground ourselves a little bit. So,
Right.
if you will, we need to I want to say we need to be a like a helium balloon, I guess.
Ooh, okay.
Where we have like we have that weight that's grounding us,
Right.
and it's just where we're supposed to be at the moment. But we can still see, but we're still connected to that bigger dream,
I
essentially.
absolutely love that. That is so cool and so apt of the helium balloon.
Yeah. So I feel, yeah, that's what I feel we need to do. And we also need to understand, and it goes back to self-awareness as well, that maybe some of these little steps in between aren't for everybody. Um,
Yes.
so like I know even within the structure of my business, I know that I am that small step detail person, right?
Okay.
um, so I see the big picture and I see it and then I break it down into these little steps, and that's fine with me. But I also know that my business partner, who's also my husband, he's not necessarily that person who he sees the big picture.
Okay.
He sees he sees the what do you call them? The subheading.
Ah,
And
okay.
there's something where he would be, really detailed about. But with me, I kind of want to be detailed about everything. um,
You are very meticulous, I must say. I must say. It's also very refreshing, Kerri. It's a really good thing.
I hope so.
It is. It is a very good thing. Okay, so we I just really love the conversation we had. We touched on your business. Well, I want to touch on your business because you just mentioned it. Um,
Mhm.
Tell us a little more about what you do.
So my company is called 13 Degrees North Productions. So
Right.
we're a full service production company. So we offer production services from the conceptualization, which is having the idea and scripting it, all the way down to post production. So we take you through the full gamut of production services. And then we also do production facilitation. So that is where we assist international crews who are coming to Barbados or anywhere else in the Caribbean, because we also work in other Caribbean islands as well.
Hmm.
We assist them on their shoots. So we find them their crew, accommodation, equipment, everything. We start and manage that on the ground for them. And then we also do like remote shooting as well. So sometimes the crew doesn't have to come in. We will shoot for them and send them the footage. So that's what I do. That's my
That's
main
so
business.
that's your main thing. Love it. I can personally say I love working with your business with 13 Degrees North. As our audience here, they know I would have mentioned before that I do makeup for anyone, but also productions. And in
Yeah.
working with 13 Degrees North, I have seen personally your attention to detail, and it is so inspiring because I feel like I like do micro goals and stuff, but I'm not as meticulous. That's what I would say as you, and it's very inspiring to see because it also shows your passion as well for what
Yeah.
you do.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes. So, how have you been enjoying your journey, like as a creative, but also running a business at the same time? Because I know it could pull on you quite a bit. Just being a creative in itself
Hmm.
could be a little exhausting at times. But being able to work in your passion,
Hmm.
how have you found that experience so far?
Um, I want to say great. I think that I am one of the lucky people
Mhm.
who actually get to do what they love every day,
Right,
essentially.
right.
And I think in a space like Barbados, where, and this was especially so, I want to say 5 years ago, when people will ask me what I do, and when I tell them production, then they will ask me like, "What was my like day job?" Because in their mind, there was no way that this is what I do every day, all day, but it
Right.
what I do every day, all day. Um, so what I would say that within my business, because I'm a creative and because I'm also that meticulous, I want to say business person.
Yes.
Um, Sometimes I want to say the creative process or the creativity in it kind of ebbs and flows. So it might move from, and to be fair to myself, so I started out, I write, yeah, but
Yes.
um, when business gets going and stuff like that, then we're on to the business part and the production part. Where in production, there's planning and what's not. So sometimes by creativity, you might move from the art side, which is the writing side and conceptualization and that sort of thing, and just go over to the business side. Because the truth of the matter is, even dealing with those minute business decisions and tasks that have to be done, there is some creativity
Right.
that you that you
Mhm.
could and probably should put, you know, within that whole process as well. So
That's true.
so it ebbs
And
and
I
flows.
find,
And sometimes I wish I could. Sometimes I yearn for more the art side,
right.
especially when I feel particularly bogged down. Like I feel like I'm being, I want to say like starved of it
Mhm.
or or something. But um, I guess it's a balance, you know.
Totally. And the good thing about it is that your passion, like your love for what you're doing, actually is what keeps you anchored. So, like you were saying, you yearn sometimes for the more creative part when you're too bogged down. And but the fact that you're actually working in the industry that you love or the job that you love, that's what keeps you anchored because you know you're gonna have those creative days again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Even for
Okay.
some of the
Oh.
sorry.
Mhm. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Even for some of the jobs that we have and stuff like that, because like I would do the scripting and the producing of it. So again, when I get into the production phase, I feel taken away from the creative phase, even though I've just done it. Right, I had to
Right.
do it before we got there. But when we see the final product of what we did, and then I think to myself, wow, like that idea came from my head. Like
The satisfaction.
exactly.
Wow. It's
Exactly.
honestly like a high for creatives, you know. It's just the best feeling in the world.
Yes, it is. It really is. Because when you are in the thick of it, trying to make it happen, um, is at that point that is, everyone says it's hard to see the big picture because you know the big picture, but it's one of those difficult points where it's like you kind of seeing everything close up. And then when you step back at the end of it, it's like, oh, wow.
The glory. I can just feel it by talking to you. I love it. That feeling is the best in the world. So, do you have any advice, any snippet or nugget of wisdom you could give a creative who is, well, a creative entrepreneur, but is feeling a little, as you would say, bogged down?
um,
What would Kerri say if somebody came with for to her to you for what would Kerri say if somebody came to her for a pep talk?
um, Kerri would Kerri would most definitely say, I was gonna say Kerri would probably say, but it's not a possibility, it's most definitely. Kerri will most definitely say write down where is you wanna go or where is you wanna be and then write down the small steps. Because I feel like one, when you have them in front of you is a little easier. When you achieve things, you get to tick them off and you feel a weight off of you. And again, there's that small, celebration. I also
Yes.
believe in celebrating these small things. Um,
Yes.
and yeah, that's what I would say. Like really, don't try to do too much at once. I know that's hard. It's even hard for me sometimes. Um, but yeah. And I guess again, going back to the fake it till you make it, like if you write down your goal and your big dream and you write down the smaller steps, um, then you get there, like it's the work that gets you there.
Exactly. It's the work that gets you there. That's what I think we want to get into your head. It is the work that gets you there. Okay. So just to close off, I really would love for you to tell us a couple of the productions you've worked on, just because I think it's so cool and I think everybody should know. Could you name a couple of productions you've worked on?
Sure. Um, so we've worked on Girls Cruise with Lil Kim, that was on VH1. We've
Right.
worked on Married to Medicine, that's a Bravo show. I really love reality TV, so that was
Me
really
too.
good. We've done photo shoots with Vogue. Um, and for here in Barbados, we've worked with the BTMI, that's the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.,
Right.
on
Oh, okay.
the branding campaign, which is really cool. And then we've done work with the IDB as well. And that was one of those projects where when, the finished product, I was like, just wow. Um,
That was amazing. I love that. Like when I saw the commercial, I was like, what? That was awesome.
yeah,
Seriously.
we try to any project that we try to do, we try to bring like real creativity and real innovation. We don't want to be samey. So they, so
Yes,
they say we want to tell a story, essentially.
which you definitely do. For okay, so we want to thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. It has been awesome, and I know that you're going to be back in the future. Um, yeah, for sure. And everybody, please stay tuned. I'm going to link Kerri's social media in the description box below on our page on Facebook. Please like it because I will definitely be sharing that commercial so everybody can see the kind of work that 13 Degrees North does. And all you guys, thank you so much for listening. And just know that I am sending you so, so, so much love right now. Talk soon.